Being able to read makes me a tech support wizard. Just being out on a customer's site doing a repair. Completely routine job, went fine, nothing exciting. After completing the repair, I was told to go to the office so we could complete the paperwork for the job because my boss likes to get paid for the work we do. I knocked on the door. Yeah, come on mate, grab a seat. The office was not exactly overstocked with chairs too, in fact one for each desk, so I had to walk past old mate standing at the photocopier, actually a printer/scanner/copy/fax. As I walked past, I glanced down at the screen to see an error message, open door A, clear paper jam, complete with a pretty animation showing door opening. So I sat there, aimlessly browsing my phone while old mate muttered to himself. After a minute or two, he apologized for the delay, but he was having problems with the photocopier. Looking up from my phone, I noticed a label on the end of the machine that said door A, which corresponded with the animation I'd seen earlier. Feeling brave, I suggested that he try opening door A, perhaps using what appeared to be a latch handle next to the door I'll label. When he looked at me blankly, I helpfully pointed at said latch handle. Lo and behold, door duly opened. Old mate was standing there with a stunned, "Now WTF do I do?" expression on his face, so I stood up and looked behind door A. There was a piece of wrinkled up paper plainly visible, so I suggested he try removing it, then close door A. Following my suggestions, the instant door clicked shut, the machine sprang to life, spitting out about 30 sheets of paper. "Thanks mate, you're a wizard. I can't understand these super duper complicated contraptions. Mate, even if you can't read, it's got an animation showing you what to do." Thin Ethernet by user JSON. I installed a small network of Mac SE computers in a small school district office. This was back around 1988 or so. The network cables were thin Ethernet. A few weeks went by and I got an emergency call to go and fix the network. It was a 4-hour drive from my current client to this one. I get there and after a little looking around, I find one computer without the terminator. Her desk didn't face a wall so people could walk past the back of her desk. When I asked her, she said that the thing didn't have a cable, so she just took the terminator off and threw it away. Not having any spares with me, I went to Radio Shack and bought the terminator and a BNC plug and made one on the spot. Problem fixed. I told her to never remove that part and left. A week later, I get another emergency call to the same location. Sure enough, there was no terminator on her Mac. Again. This time I had spares in my car. As I replaced it, I asked her, "Do you feel okay?" Customer: "Yes, I feel fine." Me: "Not lightheaded or anything?" Customer: "No, I am fine. Why do you ask?" Me: "Well, it is called Ethernet. They use ether to insulate the wires. I don't want you to inhale too much and pass out." She never touched the terminator again. https://wikipedia.org/wiki/10bas@o. Marked new PC for just one person in department by user Oinky Confidence. Here's another one from my earlier memories about Mark. This would have been around 2010 or so, as Windows 7 was recently released and the company was upgrading and replacing PCs, removing Windows Vista from the environment. Mark, obviously not his real name, requested we order new PCs for one department of I believe 5 people. PC quantities quoted, approved by Mark, ordered, delivered, and installation coordinated. I go on site and begin the process of replacing them. Really routine stuff so far. After finishing the second or so new PC, as I recall, it was late morning when Mark happens to walk by, sees the changes, points to the desk where I was just starting and says, "Not one for her." He was pointing to Sarah's desk, where I had just shut down her old PC. Sarah was still sitting there near me, waiting for when she needed to sign into her new PC, and I'm sure was caught off guard. She expressed she thought everyone in the department was getting new PCs, her included. At this point, any other commotion in the room stopped and everyone turned to witness the denial. "Yeah, not today," Mark replied. "Box it up, hook the old one up." No sooner had he said things, he left and went on his way. I remember turning to Sarah and said, "I'm sorry." He approved the quote that included yours. She didn't say anything and just walked out into the hall. I also remember feeling really, really bad and probably flushed, even though it was Mark's call who got a new PC or who didn't. I felt like I alone was denying Sarah our upgrade. Since it was lunchtime, Sarah seemed to leave for lunch. I hooked her existing PC back up, made sure it worked fine, and moved on to the next person's new PC to set up. Sarah never came back that day after lunch. She did come back the next day though. I lost track and I'm not sure how much longer she stayed with Mark's company, but that PC did get replaced eventually. I want to cancel my service, but by user malfeaturon. Customer gets misrouted to me in tech support saying they want to disconnect service. I inform them I am with tech, but would be happy to assist getting them to the appropriate party and ask for their phone number to get their account information. They refuse to provide it and just want me to transfer now because they keep getting misrouted. I advise that is precisely why I need their information so I know where to transfer the call. They go back and forth with me for another minute or so as I stress to them that I can transfer the call until I know where to transfer it to. At which point they said I am just going to call back. I once again state all I need is a phone number, but they will not budge and hung up. They waste their own time arguing and calling back. For all I know they weren't even a customer. Remote family printer tech support by user Beer Billibegon. I was walking my dog last evening when my father called me. He's 7 time zones behind me. He said he needed my help because his printer wasn't working and he wanted my help in getting it to work again. When he tried to print, it said printer not connected, so my first instinct was to ask him if the printer was connected. Simple, right? He assured me it was. Being an avid reader of the subreddit, I asked him to make sure to go and check the USB was plugged in on both sides and that the printer was plugged in. He once again told me that everything was plugged into where it was supposed to be. I then tried a trick I read about here. I asked him to unplug the USB cable from the printer and the computer, blow on both sides to clear them from dust, and plug them back in. He said he did. At this point I was unable to help him over the phone while picking up dog poop, so I told him that when I got home and put the kids to sleep I'd remote connect and see if I could help some more. 2 hours later the kids are finally asleep and I called them again. We connected to TeamViewer and I opened the printers section. I can clearly see where it says not connected. I ran the troubleshooting and it said no errors found. I figured maybe I'd remove the printer and try to add it again. Maybe that would clear up whatever was wrong. When I tried to add it again, Windows couldn't even locate the printer. At this point I asked him again to please locate the cables again and make sure that everything was plugged into where they were supposed to be. He's coming up on 76, so he's not a nimble or limber fella, but after about 5 minutes of crawling under his desk, wanna guess what the result was? That's right, the printer's USB cable wasn't plugged in. He plugged it in, we printed a test page, and all was good with the world. Like everyone here knows, users lie. I just didn't expect to be lied to twice.